A nation approaching holiday season with spiking virus cases, overwhelmed hospitals, and a president who is MIA is where we start this hour with Laurie Garrett, health policy analyst, columnist for Foreign Policy Magazine, and a Pulitzer Prize-winning journalist. Also joining us, Dr. Lippy Roy, internal medicine physician and an MSNBC medical contributor. And our friend John Heilman's back, NBC News and MSNBC national affairs analyst, executive editor of The Recount, and host of the Hell and High Water podcast, with some other news that we'll get to at the end of this segment. But I start with you, Laurie Garrett, and the state of this country's losing battle against the pandemic. Where are we and where are we heading?
We're in very bad shape, Nicole. We were in bad shape even back in September before this whole third surge started. At that point, according to a newly published study, about 10% of samples submitted for medical diagnosis for non-COVID reasons came up positive for COVID antibodies. So that's a kind of rough way of saying about 10% of Americans, not evenly distributed, of course, across the country, were already infected before the surge started. And now with the surge, we're seeing infection rates coming back on tests every single day that range, as high as half in some states are coming back positive. We're over 200,000 new cases every day, and a brand new Centers for Disease Control forecast that pools the estimates in about 30 different models executed across the United States in different study centers says by December 15th, that week, we could be looking at an additional up to as many as 3 million new cases in the country.
You know, Laurie, I always want to ask you science-y questions, but I always end up with the psychological questions of why can't we do this? And I guess the specific question for you is, I had thought that the news about vaccines from Pfizer and Moderna would make it easier for Americans to sort of gird themselves for the long, dark winter, knowing there was hope on the other side of the winter season, perhaps in the spring and spring vaccinations. Do you think that news of the vaccine has people moving the other direction, or what is behind the defiance of the few things that we can do to protect ourselves?
Really good question, Nicole, because it's one that all of us have been scratching our heads about. First of all, I did all the math, crunched the data from the TSA, AAA, and other sources, and close to 8 million Americans defied all recommendations to stay home and have traveled between last Sunday and this Sunday, putting a huge burden on all our systems and certainly increasing the likelihood of spreading for, as Dr. Fauci has put it, a surge on top of a surge, so that in a sense we'd have a fourth wave occurring right on top of a third wave. Why is this happening? Well, I think there's several things. I do think that the vaccine good news has been misinterpreted by very many people to believe that there's going to be a vaccine for every American just around the corner. And that is not true. Yeah. If you're very lucky and you're part of that first group designated to receive vaccines, there may be a sort of dose level available between now and New Year's to satisfy about 10 to 15 million people. Remember, you have to take 2 doses. So when you hear the numbers, cut them in half. We won't see large-scale vaccination rolling out across America until well into the spring. So we need to build a bridge. We need a bridge that gets us from today to that, point when Americans can get vaccinated. And that bridge is really scary. It's not really there. It doesn't really exist. Yeah. We haven't added anything onto the recommendations that government has been making for many months. And there aren't any new, weapons in the toolkit. And so it's really all about America. When will you take this message seriously? When will you wear those masks assiduously, avoid all those occasions. And the problem is, if there's anything that we all want to do during Christmas time, during the Hanukkah, during Thanksgiving, this whole holiday season, right up to New Year's Eve, it's be with people we love a lot and jump up and down and scream and hug and drink champagne together and do all these things that are very intimate. And it's just too dangerous this year.
Hey there, I'm Chris Hayes from MSNBC. Thanks for watching MSNBC on YouTube. If you want to keep up to date with the videos we're putting out, you can click subscribe just below me or click over on this list to see lots of other great videos.